So in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to update existing items on your Monday.com board or how to merge duplicate. So to do that, we could use the Duplicate in Unix app. We go to the app. Now, if you don't have the app, you can just go to apps and then search for Duplicate in Unix. This one, so you can add it to your board. I already have it, so I can close this. And then here I select the group that I'm interested in, which is group 1. And then I can click on next. Now I like to merge items which have the same item name, so I click on this. So this option is where the duplicate exists. So if we have the same duplicate item names, then it should merge them. So we select item name here, and then we go to next. So here we select all duplicates because we want to merge all duplicates and not to exclude the first or last instance. So we select all duplicates. Go to next. Here we select merge duplicate. Now the option that we selected in step 2, which is item name, is excluded here because that is like the key we are using to merge our duplicate. But now for the rest of the columns, we decide how we would like to merge them. So for example, we have the status column here. We can decide to keep the last non-empty. So that means that anytime there is an update, it should replace the existing value. So that's what keep last non-empty means. Now let's say for status 1, we don't want to make the newly updated value to replace the existing value. We always want to keep the first value or the existing value for that item. So we can choose this option. So first non-empty. That is if we want to keep the first value, right? If we want to keep any value that already exists for that item, it doesn't matter whether it's empty or not, we can use first any. So keep any first. Now, if we want to replace the existing value with any value, whether it's empty or not, we can use keep any last, right? And if we want to create a new status column, anytime there's a value, we can use the custom. Now to demonstrate how this works, I'll use first on empty for status 1. So what will happen is that even if there is a new update for an item, it will still keep the existing update or the existing value for status 1 for that item. Now we'll see that how that works. Now for the date, we also like to keep the last on empty, so any new date that is added for the item, we would like to keep that. And then the text, let's say we would like to keep all the text that come in and separate them. So we would like to join the text that come in, and we would like to join them with, let's say, a comma and a space or any of these options. So we can select any of these options here. So let's say I can use a semicolon and a space, so that's what will be separated or will separate the different text. Now we can also write here, let's say instead of using a semicolon as a space, I would like to separate them with a space and an ampersand and a space. So I can do that and select save that for the text column, right? And then for the drop down column, I'll also like to, let's say, keep the last one empty, or maybe to join them. So what join will do is that anytime there's a new value for the drop down option, it will join it with the existing one. So we can do that and then just click on save here. So we have set the different options for the different columns that are left, except for the item name, because the item name of course is a duplicate, and that is what will be used to determine whether to merge two items or not. So of course we can't add it here, but for the existing columns we determine how to merge them, and that's what we've done. So now that we have this here, we can click on complete if of course we would like to run it right away, or I can save this as a template. So I call it merge options. You can call it whatever you want, so I just decide to call my merge options and click on save. So now that this is done, I can go to step 1 and then I can see the template I just created. It's called merge options, and then I can now go to my board or the table and go to add to board, go to integrations, search for duplicate in Unix. So this is duplicate in Unix. I click here, Now there are different options here, but for this time we like to use this option. When an item is created, run this template. Now what this will do is that it will give us the opportunity to run the templates that we saved, right? So here we log in. So I have an account. Now the account is created in the app. So if you're a first-time user, you have to create an account in the app or register, and then you can log in with that account here when you are trying to run the integrations. So here we'll be given the option to choose the templates that we want, and then we selected the templates that we just created. Remember, we called it merge options. So currently monday.com is loading, and when it is done, it will show us a window that will allow us to select the templates that we want. So here we have the option to select the template. So when an item is created, run this template. You will see all the templates that you created, and we choose merge options. So we add to board. So now we can close this. Now to be able to see this in action, it will be great if we use a form view, so then we can select different options for the different columns that we have. So I already have a form here. It's called test board. Let me reload this. Now we already have item 2 here, so of course the name will have to be the same. I think the form is not showing everything, so let me close this and come to the form again, and here we have everything here. And I would like to show this. I also like to show this. And now that, and for status 1, I would also like to show that one too. So everything is shown now. We can click on preview, and we come to main table, and here the name will of course have to be the same. So I have item 2. So item 2. In most cases, for things like there will be an email address. So let's say if the customer has the same email address, you would like to update his or the columns in the board. So for this time we are just using item names, but in your case it might be an email address, it might be a telephone number, something specific to that customer, right? So here we select for the status column. So let's say I'm done, the customer is done, so select done. And now, so this will not be updated. Remember, we decided to use the option to keep the first one empty, and since this is not empty, it will not be updated. So even if we select, let's say we select value 2 for status 1, it should remain the same, right? So for date, let's say we choose January 7th. So date should be replaced with the existing date that is here. And text, let's say we use some new text, so it's called, let's say, hello. So for now we have, for item 2 we have a here, right? And remember, text, we decided to use a space, ampersand, and a space, so that should be separated with what we specified. And for drop down, let's say option 2. So drop down, we decided to join the options. So when it's click on submit, we have to go to our board, and then it's added here, and automatically you should see that this should be updated here, right? So you can see this is done. This didn't change because remember we decided to keep the first one empty, so it didn't change. The date changed to the date that we specified. The text is separated by what we specified there, so a space, ampersand, and a space, and the drop down is joined here, right? So this is how the app works. So here we have been able to update item 2 with the new values that came in, right? Now to show that how the first non-empty works, remember this has a value, right? So it wasn't replaced, but what if we have item 3, for example? This doesn't have a value. So when we input a new value for item 3, it should replace this empty value, because of course we said first non-empty. So since this is empty, it should replace it, right? So to do that, we can go to this part and then we reload our page. So now this time we want to update item 3, and then here we select the status. So let's say for status we say stack, so this should be stack now, and then here we select, let's say, done for item status 1. So initially in this case status 1 wasn't updated, but this time it should be updated with this done, or we can say value 2 to really differentiate it, right? So status 1 for item 3 will now be value 2, and then the date, let's say any date, and then the text, let's say hi, or whatever text you want to input, and the option, we can select option 1 and then we can select option 2. It doesn't matter, right? So we click on submit, and here we should see that it should be merged, and now we have value 2 because initially it was empty, but now this is the first non-empty value for item 3. So it was replaced and everything was done according to the template that we defined. So hope this has been able to demonstrate to you how the template works for the duplicating Unix app and how you can update existing items. Thank you very much.